Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen carefully because today we're talking about something that can change your life. It's something that holds us all back, something that can stop us from reaching our true potential. I'm talking about fear. But let me tell you something, fear is a liar. Fear will tell you that you're not good enough, that you don't have what it takes. Fear will try to convince you to play it safe, to stay in your comfort zone and never take a risk. But here's the truth. You will never know what you're capable of if you don't step into the unknown. I know it's scary. I know that when you face something new, something you've never done before, it can feel overwhelming. But here's the key. You have to step through that fear. You have to take that first step, even if it's shaky, even if your knees are knocking. It's in that moment of uncertainty, in that moment when the fear is the loudest, that you have the greatest opportunity for growth. Let's talk about what fear really is. Fear is not the absence of courage. No, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the willingness to move forward despite fear. It's the ability to say, I'm scared, but I'm going to do this anyway. That's where the magic happens. When you step into the unknown, that's where you find out who you really are. That's when you find out just how strong you really are, just how capable you are. The world doesn't belong to those who wait for the perfect moment or for the fear to subside. The world belongs to those who take action in spite of the fear. Think about the greatest accomplishments in history. Think about the people who changed the world. None of them had the luxury of knowing how things would turn out. But they stepped into the unknown, armed with nothing but belief in themselves and the courage to try. And if they can do it, so can you. You might stumble, you might fail, but let me tell you, failure is not the end. It's not the end unless you quit. Failure is just feedback. Failure is just part of the process, but it's only a true failure when you stop trying, when you let that fear take hold and keep you from moving forward. So here's the challenge. Don't let fear decide your future. Don't let fear tell you what you can and can't do. Take the leap. Step into the unknown, embrace the challenge, embrace the discomfort, because that's where you'll grow, that's where you'll find your strength, and that's where you'll find your true power. You've got this. Now go out there and show the world what you're made of. Fear is a liar. It's that voice inside your head that whispers, or sometimes even shouts, that you're not good enough, that you can't do something, or that you shouldn't even try. It feeds you doubts and convinces you that failure is inevitable, that the risks are too high, and that the reward isn't worth it. But the truth is, fear only holds power over us when we let it. And when we allow fear to dictate our actions or keep us from stepping into the unknown, we are handing it the reins of our lives. But fear has no real power unless we give it power. When we choose to see it for what it really is, a liar, we begin to take back control of our own destiny. Every one of us has felt fear at some point. It's a natural part of being human. We've all had those moments where something new, something challenging, or something unfamiliar looms in front of us. We've all faced the feeling of hesitation, that tightening in the chest or the fluttering stomach that accompanies stepping out of our comfort zones. And when that happens, fear starts its work. It tries to tell us that we don't have the ability, that we're not prepared, that we should turn back to the safety of what we already know. But what if we didn't listen? What if we saw fear for what it truly is? A tool our minds use to keep us safe, but not necessarily to help us grow. Fear's primary function is rooted in survival. It's an evolutionary instinct that was designed to protect us from physical harm. In the past, fear was a response to real threats, dangerous predators, precarious situations, or circumstances that could cost us our lives. And when we were faced with those dangers, fear helped us react quickly, running away or fighting back to stay alive. But in the world we live in now, that primal response is often triggered in situations that don't pose any real danger. Fear doesn't just warn us about life or death situations anymore. It gets triggered by something much more subtle. It shows up when we think about taking risks, starting something new, or doing something we've never done before. It often manifests as that voice inside telling us to stay small, to stay comfortable, to not rock the boat. But here's the thing, fear is not always a reflection of reality. It's an exaggerated response, often built on what might happen, not what will happen. Fear makes predictions based on past experiences, on worst-case scenarios, and on what ifs. It feeds us stories of failure, rejection, and disappointment, but it rarely shows us the other side: success, growth, or the joy of overcoming obstacles. The reality is, the vast majority of the things we fear never actually come to pass. But fear doesn't care about that. Fear wants to keep us in a place of safety, and in doing so, it keeps us from experiencing life at its fullest potential. Think about it. How many times have you felt afraid to do something, only to later realize that the fear you had was much worse than the actual experience? You might have been afraid to speak in public, but once you did, you found it wasn't nearly as terrifying as you imagined. You might have been afraid to ask for something you wanted, only to find that the rejection wasn't as painful as you thought it would be. You might have been afraid to take a leap of faith, but when you did, you realized you were stronger and more capable than you ever gave yourself credit for. This is what fear does. It tricks you into thinking that the unknown is dangerous, that the risk isn't worth taking, and that failure is inevitable. But failure, in many cases, isn't something to fear. It's part of the process. It's a natural byproduct of taking risks, of stepping out of your comfort zone. Failure isn't the end of the road, it's just feedback. It's information that tells you what didn't work so you can try again, adjust, and do better next time. The truth is, many of the people we admire most, the ones who have achieved great things, have failed time and time again. They've faced the same fears we do, but they didn't let those fears define them. They didn't let those fears hold them back. They move forward anyway. But what if you let fear control you? What if you allow that voice to convince you that you're not good enough, not capable, not deserving? What happens when you choose to stay small? When you choose to shrink away from the challenges, from the growth opportunities that life presents? You end up living a life of missed chances, of unfulfilled potential. You end up looking back on your life and wondering, what if I had tried? What if I had pushed past my fears and taken that leap? And the truth is that regret can haunt you far longer than the pain of failure ever would. Fear doesn't just show up in big life-changing moments. It shows up in the everyday choices we make too. It shows up when you consider making a change in your career, when you think about moving to a new place, when you entertain the idea of starting a business, or even when you think about standing up for yourself in a difficult conversation. Fear often takes the form of what ifs. What if it doesn't work? What if people judge me? What if I fail? These are all lies. Fear is trying to sell you a story of disaster, of worst-case scenarios, of things that may never even happen. But fear doesn't deal in reality. It deals in possibilities, in projections, and in what might be. And the more we listen to that voice, the more it feeds us these stories, the more we start to believe them. But the truth is, no one ever achieves anything great by playing it safe, by sticking to the familiar, by listening to the voice of fear. The people who make a difference, the people who push boundaries, the people who change the world, these are the ones who see fear for what it really is, a liar. They acknowledge it, they recognize it's there, but they don't let it control them. They don't let it keep them from stepping forward. Instead, they take the leap, they take the risk. They embrace the unknown, even when it's scary, even when it's uncertain. It's not easy. Overcoming fear takes courage. And courage doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means that, despite the fear, you move forward. You take action. You do it anyway. It means choosing to be bigger than the fear, to push through it rather than shrink back. And every time you do, you build resilience. You build strength. You build the confidence to face the next fear, the next challenge, the next obstacle. And every time you step through fear, you get one step closer to the person you're meant to be. The person who isn't held back by lies, but who embraces the fullness of their potential. Fear will always be there. It's a part of life, but it's not something we have to accept as truth. When you recognize that fear is just a liar, you take the power back. You stop listening to the stories it tells you. You stop believing the what ifs and start embracing the why nots. The truth is, you are capable, you are strong, you are worthy, and the world out there is waiting for you to step into it, to take that leap, to face the unknown with the knowledge that you're far more powerful than the fear standing in your way. Growth happens in the unknown. This phrase encapsulates a profound truth about the nature of personal, emotional, intellectual, and even physical development. It suggests that growth, whether it be of the mind, spirit, or abilities, is not found in comfort, predictability, or certainty. Instead, it emerges when we venture into uncharted territories, when we step outside of our comfort zones, and when we encounter the unfamiliar, the uncertain, and the unknown. The unknown is uncomfortable. It can provoke anxiety, fear, and doubt. Yet it is these very feelings that can trigger the kind of growth that propels us to new levels of understanding and capability. When faced with uncertainty, we are often pushed to our limits, and it is in these moments of struggle that we discover what we are truly capable of. We may not immediately see the benefits of stepping into the unknown, but over time, we begin to realize that this is where transformation occurs. The process of adapting to new circumstances, learning new things, and confronting unexpected challenges fosters resilience, creativity, and strength. In the world of education, for example, growth happens when students are presented with problems that require them to think critically and push beyond their current level of understanding. When a student encounters a concept or idea that they do not immediately grasp, they are presented with an opportunity to grow. The discomfort they feel in struggling with something new is the very catalyst for intellectual growth. This process of grappling with the unknown, whether it is a complex equation in math, a challenging passage in literature, or a new theory in science, forces the brain to develop new connections, to integrate unfamiliar information, and to strengthen cognitive abilities. In life, we often seek out the known because it offers a sense of security. The known represents stability, predictability, and control. We seek to avoid the unknown because it is unpredictable and it can feel threatening. However, if we always choose the safe, familiar path, we miss out on the opportunities that come with stepping into new, unfamiliar situations. Each new experience, no matter how daunting, offers the potential for growth. Whether it's moving to a new city, starting a new job, or entering into a new relationship, these transitions force us to navigate unfamiliar territory and challenge us to adapt. They test our resilience and teach us how to deal with uncertainty. Over time, we accumulate the tools and strategies needed to face new challenges with confidence. Personal growth, too, often happens in the unknown. When we face difficult emotions or situations that we don't know how to handle, it is easy to feel lost or overwhelmed. But it is precisely in these moments that we have the chance to develop greater emotional intelligence. The unknown provides an arena where we can explore our feelings, confront our fears, and expand our understanding of ourselves. Perhaps it's in a moment of heartbreak that we learn the importance of self-compassion, or in a moment of failure that we discover the strength to persevere. These experiences shape us, molding us into more resilient, more empathetic, and more adaptable individuals. Furthermore, the unknown is a space where innovation and creativity flourish. It is often in the uncharted waters of uncertainty that the most groundbreaking ideas and solutions are born. When we venture into the unknown, we are forced to think in new ways, to challenge conventional wisdom, and to question the status quo. History is filled with examples of individuals who embraced the unknown and, in doing so, revolutionized their fields. From scientists like Albert Einstein, who explored the mysteries of the universe, to inventors like Thomas Edison, who experimented with countless possibilities, growth and innovation are born from the willingness to step into the unknown and embrace uncertainty. There is also an element of trust in the unknown. Trust that even though we cannot see what lies ahead, there is value in the journey itself. Growth is not always linear, and the path to success is rarely straightforward. Often, it is the detours, the moments of uncertainty, and the unforeseen challenges that shape the most profound aspects of our growth. Trusting the process means allowing ourselves to move forward without knowing exactly where we are going or how we will get there. It is a leap of faith that the experiences we encounter along the way will ultimately lead us to where we need to be. The unknown also offers a unique opportunity for self-discovery. When we are placed in unfamiliar situations, we are often forced to look inward and question who we really are and what we truly want. In the comfort of the known, it is easy to fall into patterns and routines that are shaped by external influences, society, family, peers, or even our own fears. But when we step into the unknown, we are often stripped of these external markers and left to confront our true selves. This confrontation can be uncomfortable, even unsettling, but it is a necessary part of personal growth. It is only when we venture into new experiences that we are able to uncover hidden strengths, untapped potential, and deeper aspects of our identity. The unknown is also where vulnerability resides. To step into the unknown is to expose ourselves to uncertainty, risk, and the possibility of failure. Vulnerability can be daunting, but it is also a powerful force for growth. It allows us to experience life fully and authentically without the barriers that we often place around ourselves for protection. When we embrace vulnerability, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and connections. We become more open to learning, more receptive to feedback, and more willing to take risks. It is through vulnerability that we develop the courage to face challenges, to make mistakes, and to ultimately grow into more resilient and capable individuals. Additionally, the unknown is a place where we learn to navigate ambiguity. In a world that often values certainty and clear answers, it can be difficult to accept that not everything has a clear-cut solution. Yet growth requires the ability to live with ambiguity, to be comfortable with the fact that not all questions have immediate answers and not all paths are clearly marked. The process of grappling with ambiguity is a crucial skill in both personal and professional life. It teaches us to be adaptable, to think critically, and to trust our instincts in the absence of clear direction. Over time, we develop a deeper sense of confidence in our ability to handle the unknown, knowing that we have the capacity to find our way even when the path is unclear.